Smith Rocks, Oregon, an area with a reputation for having many of the best difficult climbs in the country. In late autumn, it can be cool and dry, providing perfect conditions for hard climbing. But it can also be unpredictable and stormy, which is how it was when Adam Stack and Chris Linder, two of the best young climbers in the U.S., were there to Redpoint the Big R, a notorious 514 established by French climbing legend Marc Le Ménestrel in the mid-1990s. Using a unique rigging system that allows the camera to follow the climbers up the route, the goal is more than just recording the ascent of a hard climb. The goal is to experience the climber's point of view, to witness the challenges they face on a difficult route, to observe the tactics, movement, and strategies that make them successful. Harsh weather conditions aside, setting up the camera system proved to be difficult, taking 3.5 days out of an 8-day schedule. Knowing that Adam and Chris will need at least one rest day, this leaves them 4 days to send the route. Will that be enough time?
I had heard Big R is one of the hardest 14As in the country, and very few people have done it, and the people that have done it usually takes them a lot longer than other routes to do at that same level. So I was kind of scared, coming here to do this route, and I might not be able to do it.
There's 3 cruxes for me on the Big R. One of those cruxes is leaving the ground. I'm gonna be whipping! Woo! Big whippers! I don't know what it is. It's always hard for me. I might fail. I might get totally bouted. Uh-oh. Got a problem. Crux. I might actually do the route and the experience will be over.
Right, here's a good rest right after this move, though. Okay.
It's always a hard thing for my feet to leave the ground.
Watch it. Bolt's gonna break.
I know. Kind of worried about that. I try and really slow myself down. Like the Big R, it has an easy start. It's maybe like 12A. So even though it's only 512, it's still, I need to climb through it efficiently. So I need to know every little thing about it. When I climb it, no flaws. So no matter how easy it is, I take my time and figure out the moves. He has no wasted energy. That's way easier.
The lower crux, you kind of start off with a couple crimps, and I actually broke the right side of one of the crimps, so it got worse. But with some alright feet, you make a big move up to a kind of a side pole sloper. And then you have to do this crux move where you go to this Gaston and hit this Gaston. You can't really hit it with your fingers. You have to set up, and I hit it with my thumb first, and then wrap the fingers onto it.
The moves are kind of bigger, more dynamic, and really shoulder intense. But that whole crux, every move, you're just like, that holds so far, I'm not going to be able to do it.
Climbing. I'm gonna pull past it for now. I'm pulling past it for now.
And then the next section is just really bouncy, probably the most bouncy move on the route. You grab a side pole, and your feet just get really terrible and smeary in the wrong places. And then you have to cross over on a side pole, but you just want to flip it around 180 degrees, and you have to stick that swing.
It fits my style pretty well. It's almost like lie backing a crack, which I really enjoy. I've crack climbed a lot, so it kind of fits. I feel at home. And then I quickly get booted out of my home. I was like, holy cow, this thing's heinous. I was like trying to pull on some of the holes. I was baffled. I was like, this thing's not a free climb.
You reach up to this mono pocket that you can kind of crimp on the sides with these fingers and really, really bad, and you have to get this foot up, and your knee comes above your hand, so you're all crunched up, but then you gotta get 2 feet up, and you're like, you basically have to dyno off like this position up to like a really, really sharp crimp. I don't know, it's a hit or miss each time, you know, you don't have a real good chance of sticking it even when you're off the dog, let alone on Redpoint. So, that's gonna be hard.
Knowing what the route holds in store for them, they get down to the work of refining their sequences.
Okay, climbing.
Adam goes first, easily climbing the 512 section that leads to the first crux. On the first move, he experiments, trying it with both the left and the right hand. Both ways are similar. He sags out from the rock a little to create momentum. He stands up and arches his back to execute. The main difference appears to be how well he can move his feet and hands into the next moves.
Okay, climbing.
When reaching with his left hand, his body is more to the right of the hold, which creates good balance for the next hand and foot moves. In both moves, his hips are close to the wall as he reaches the next hold, which is good. The move is well timed. But he has trouble controlling this position, and his body falls away from the rock at the end of the move. When pumped or on linkage, latching the hold and controlling this move may be very difficult.
Okay, climbing.
This is the move he was unable to complete on his first attempt.
Yeah, skip that clip.
Here we get a sense of just how difficult the balance on this section is. He is on the verge of barn dooring off when he brings his right leg back closer to the rock, thus shifting his center of gravity just enough to keep him on the wall.
That was close.
On the second crux, Adam begins by trying alternative sequences to what he tried yesterday.
Yeah. Maybe you can figure. It like puts you too far that way. So I think you need to get your foot up into that little pocket.
He is actually able to do the move by using a tiny right hand intermediate.
Ah!
He must reach the next hold before his body moves too far out from the rock. On his second attempt, Chris easily gets from the ground to the lower crux.
Die!
After linking the lower crux, Chris takes a rest and moves to the higher crux, where he works on refining the hardest move of the climb. But after several tries, there's a problem. He can't repeat the move. He is attempting the move differently than yesterday. The sequence is the same, but his movement is different. In his starting position, his hips are lower and farther away from the rock. This difference in starting position means that his body must move a little farther and more dynamically than he did on the first day. He's also not bringing his left foot up to a new hold before making the reach. Rather, he lets it dangle in space. At the moment when the right hand leaves its hold, the moves are similar. But if we look closely, we see that on his successful attempt, his trunk and right shoulder are closer to the rock. The critical difference begins here when his body begins to move away from the wall. This outward movement was minimized in the first way he did the move. By this frame, his body has enough outward momentum that he is unable to latch the next hold. The difference between these two moves, between success and failure, is a matter of inches over the course of 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, the balance on the top section's crazy. You got to get your hips in close to the wall so you can make the reach, because if your hips are out, your body will sag. But if you get in, you can expand your reach a little bit more. So.
The quality of Chris and Adam's tactics is noteworthy.
You look at the moves, and then you climb them. And then after you've climbed them, you look at them again. You think about what you're going to do before you do it. Because the hardest thing about red pointing things is not getting too tired.
They rest as much as they need, often going in straight to the bolt to relieve their belayer.
Indirect.
They tick footholds that they are likely to miss.
It helps me remember, especially in a face like the big R. It's kind of like one monotone color throughout the whole thing. It's really memorization for me. It's all in the mind.
Take!
While they may struggle with a move, they are always sure to put the rope where it is most advantageous. Often they get the rope above them by leveraging off the bolt they are on to reach the next draw and clip the rope higher. This way, they can always be positioned where they need to be in relation to the move they are working.
Okay, take.
At this level, preparing for a red point consists of far more than just knowing the sequence. They develop strategies for the particular challenges of this route.
I think what I'm going to have to do is skip that bolt at the crux. There's a cramp you get after a big move, you're real stretched out, and you can clip there. But you really want that right hand to be fresh to set up for the next couple moves.
They place particular emphasis on balance and how they move in space.
The hips are a huge part of the beta when you get into these harder routes. You really got to drive those hips. Bring them up in close and just kind of, the more you work your hips, the easier the moves will be. And especially on this route, that whole rail system is just like, it's all in the hips. You really have to have your hips driving in the right direction and pushing to help this hold be better. And they're always moving around. And it's balance for every single hold, really.
If it's this way, it brings my center of gravity way out from the wall. And if I bring it in, it lets me stay a little bit closer. And I don't quite feel like I'm going to fall over backwards.
Finally, they are always measuring their performance and attempting to set goals for their next attempt.
The way I'm going to work it from here is work it. I got it in 3 hangs my last burn. I'm going to try to either get the 2 hang or the 1 hang my next go. That's my goal. Ready?
Yeah! Let's go! I'm going to send this thing.
On his 3rd burn, Adam makes real progress. From the ground, he sticks the move that gave him trouble the day before.
I'm going to send this thing.
Despite this fall, Adam maintains his focus and climbs with determination, linking the route all the way from the first crux to the higher crux.
Take.
Now it's Chris's turn. From the ground, he climbs fast and smooth. Minimizing his climbing time and taking long rests. He wants to meet the goal of getting from the ground to the final crux.
Take.
Good try, man.
Thank you.
Definitely. Nice.
Thanks, dude.
With their attempts today, they have both made significant progress.
It's nice and cool. It's probably about, what, 55 degrees or so, around there.
Is that the way you like
Lower
it?
50s, yeah. Lower 50s, higher 40s. Perfect.
Right on. Show us your fingers.
Yeah, I got this one. This one's the split that I had before, and then the last day I was climbing, I split this one. It was bleeding all over the place, so trying to heal up the tips. I hate climbing with tape on.
As the camera crew sets up, Adam and Chris prepare and wait.
Thin like
That's how I'm gonna send.
Tommy maybe?
That's rotten cookies.
Talked to myself all night last night. Couldn't really sleep too well because I want to stick those foothold sequence. And you know, just stuff goes through your mind, you know. And so when I get up there, my next burn, I just like don't want to mess up. You gotta be perfect. Mind games kind of play at you as you're climbing. You get kind of nervous before you start the route, like how am I feeling today? How's the warm up? I'm not feeling so good as I was yesterday. And then you get to the first rest, you judge yourself. I was less pumped here last time, you know. And you just keep getting these mind games progressively at the route until you finally get to the crux. And if you're feeling positive, you make progress. And if you're got all these mind games working against you, you fall lower and then you get all frustrated. And you just really have to approach every single route or every single try with the mentality that you got to be positive and you're going to be successful this try. It's not me.
Ah! Ugh. Shit. Man, when I fell there, I got kind of frustrated and angry. Fatigued from past days. This whole week has been hard for me. It's a mental battle. I lost my optimism because I wasn't doing as well as I wanted.
I'm psyched.
Nice.
Chris continues to rest for several minutes. Here again, Chris chooses to rest for several minutes, making sure he is ready for the final crux.
Come back down a little bit. I'll be skipping the next one for sure.
6 minutes after he begins resting, he heads for the final crux.
I think it was a good goal and we gave it our best shot and we failed.
And I didn't quite expect to feel that strong. And I pretty much had it all back right before the crux. I was debating going for it and I was like, no, I have to get the knee on the other side or I'm gonna fall. And I had my fingers on the Gaston, but I think my momentum outward was too much. It's pretty hard. It's only been done a few times, and it's pretty hard for those that have done it.
That's part of red pointing, is failing and trying over and over and over, because 99% of the time you're gonna fail, but that 1% of the time you're gonna succeed. So you just have to keep with it.